So how was the Hunter 350? So did the Hunter 350 feel any different as compared to the Classic and Meteor? And don't you think that the suspension setup would be a little too stiff for our Indian roads?
Anand, don't ask me so many questions. Get the answers for yourself.
Sticking true to the brand's tagline, made like a gun, Royal Enfield is planning to go all guns blazing on its rivals, and the latest firearm to join its arsenal is the new Hunter 350. But the question is, was there a need to spawn yet another motorcycle based on the J platform when the Classic 350 and the Meteor 350 were already taking a charge ahead? And now that we have ridden the Hunter 350 extensively, the answer is affirmative. Because the Meteor 350 and the Classic 350 are true blue Royal Enfields, which might get a little intimidating and less inviting to the riders who have just tasted the fun of motorcycling. But still, choosing between these three Royal Enfield motorcycles might get a little confusing because they share similar performance figures, the same engine, and the underpinnings are similar to a fair margin as well. Allow me to dilute this confusion a little and demystify the air surrounding these three modern age Royal Enfield 350s.
That I'm running in place. Y'all really testing my patience. Right before I blow up the spot.
Despite sharing the basic recipe of a retro roadster like a round headlamp, a teardrop shaped fuel tank and a minimalistic bodywork, all the Royal Enfield 350s will appeal to a different set of riders. The first thing that you would realize after seeing the Hunter 350 in flash is how compact it looks and feels after you swing your leg over it. And the compact dimensions alone would provide some mental relief to the riders who are new to the world of Royal Enfield motorcycles, because as compared to the Classic 350 and the Meteor 350, the Hunter 350 feels a lot more inviting. Since this is also sort of a retro roadster, Royal Enfield couldn't have done something revolutionary when it comes to its overall aesthetics. But still, the Hunter 350 manages to differ itself because of its funky attire, which is further complemented by elements like fork gaiters or the colorful graphics that we see on the fuel tank or the sporty rear section. At the other end of the spectrum, there's the Classic 350, which is a purebred retro roadster. And it is commendable how Royal Enfield has managed to fill an entirely new wine in almost the same bottle. So if you wish to include a retro beauty in your garage, the Classic 350 makes a strong case for itself. As far as styling is concerned, the Meteor 350 finds itself slotted right in the middle of the Hunter and the Classic, because it is neither as funky as the Hunter nor as retro as the Classic. But with its laid-back cruiser credentials like a low-slung seat, a wide handlebar and a tall windscreen up front, the Meteor 350 still manages to retain its own visual identity. In Royal Enfield's own words, the Meteor 350 is a mild-mannered mile muncher, and it has just the looks to go along with that tagline. Geometry was Royal Enfield's best friend while developing the Hunter 350, because apart from its stylish looks, it is the retuned underpinnings which set the Hunter 350 apart from the Classic and the Meteor. Now take the wheels and tire sizes for instance, because the Hunter 350 has become the first modern Royal Enfield to deploy 17-inch wheels at both the ends. And the Hunter 350 also gets the widest front tire, which is a 110 section unit as compared to the 100 section tires that we find on the Classic and the Meteor. The Hunter 350 also gets a wide 140 section tire, which is comparable to the Meteor 350. But then again, major differences lie when it comes to the wheel sizes, because the Meteor 350 and the Classic 350, both the motorcycles get a 19-inch wheel up front, while the Meteor 350 gets a 17-inch unit at the back. The Classic 350 soldiers on with a 18-inch unit. Even the rake and trail angle of the Hunter 350 is a lot sharper as compared to the Classic and Meteor, lending it the agility to tackle the urban environment. Where Royal Enfield has smashed a home run is when it comes to the curve weight of the Hunter 350, because at 181 kilograms, it is around 14 kilograms lighter than the Classic and almost 10 kgs lighter than the Meteor 350. It all boils down to lighter components, a new rear subframe, and the elimination of the hefty footpeg cradle that we find on the Classic and the Meteor. Now, how these cardinal numbers translate into real-world riding experience, it is about time that we discuss that now.
The revised mechanicals of the Hunter start making sense as soon as you swing your leg over it. The handlebar is wide and low, typical of what we see on the naked Street Fighters in this price bracket. While the Classic and Meteor get slightly forward set foot pegs, the Hunter's foot pegs are placed underneath you. As far as ergonomics are considered, it is the Meteor which scores high on the comfort front. The Hunter, on the other hand, comes out as the sportiest proposition as you sit while hunching a little forward, with the rider triangle making you feel that you are riding any typical 200cc naked Street Fighter. The Classic is a good compromise and is neither as committed as the Hunter nor as comfortable as the Meteor. The suspension and braking components might be vastly similar, but that is all on the spec sheet, because in reality things are slightly different. I found the Classic to be the most supple of the lot, while the Meteor wasn't too far behind either. Here as well, the Hunter feels a bit sportier and firmer as compared to the Meteor and the Classic. The ride is on the firmer side, with the twin shock absorbers at the back, making you feel everything that is happening underneath. If you're looking for a comfortable motorcycle, the Meteor or the Classic would make more sense, but if you're looking for something fun and engaging, you cannot go wrong with the Hunter. The shorter wheelbase, smaller wheels and less have to carry around really do make a world of a difference, because the Hunter 350 feels light and quick on its feet, and this is something that cannot be said about the Classic and the Meteor. Neutral is the best word to describe the handling of the Meteor. It gets the job done without sending any warning signals on your cockpit, but that's about it. The Classic 350 falls in the same category, but its handling is slightly lazier as compared to the Meteor, but the Hunter is unlike any of these two motorcycles. Be it filtering through the traffic or attacking some corners, the Hunter puts fun in everything. The highways is where the Hunter loses out on some points, because both the Classic and the Meteor feel a bit more planted than the Hunter. Hunter's athletic positioning is further highlighted by its braking setup. It shares the same braking components with the other two motorcycles, but RE has thrown in a new master cylinder which provides more feedback and slightly more bite as compared to the Meteor and the Classic. However, I believe that the braking performance of all the 350s could be a little better, as the wooden feeling associated with Royal Enfields is still prominently felt. Although these 350s are supposed to take the charge ahead for the company in these modern competitive times, they still fall short on a few counts. Compared to the rivals, the 350 Trio doesn't get that many features and make do with just the essential ones. Royal Enfields have been notorious for quality issues, and we are sad to report that despite being better than the previous generations, some strains of this trait are still left behind. Our long-termer Hunter 350's right-hand side rear view mirror became loose with just 200 km on the odometer, and the Meteor 350 died in the middle of the shoot because of loose battery terminals. Now these kind of issues keep reminding you that the overall build quality of Royal Enfield motorcycles might have improved by a fair margin, but there's still a long way to go. Another department which could have used some more polishing is the suspension department. Given our infamous Indian roads, the Hunter 350 definitely could have been a better motorcycle if its ride quality wasn't this jittery. Moreover, some modern day features like LED lights and turn indicators would go a long way in making people realize that Royal Enfield is serious about the game. Now talking about the pricing, when Royal Enfield dropped the prices of the Hunter 350, it sent shivers down the spine of its rivals, and rightly so. The retro variant of the Hunter 350 starts at 1.49 lakh, while the top spec variant goes all the way up to 1.68 lakh. The Classic 350 starts at around 1.9 lakh and goes all the way up to 2.2 lakh. The Meteor 350's prices hover in the same range as the Classic 350.
The Hunter 350 is powered by the same thumping 350cc single-cylinder engine that we have already experienced on the Classic and the Meteor. However, Royal Enfield is claiming that they have tweaked the fueling as well as the engine mapping to better suit the characteristics of the Hunter. The performance figures of all the 350s are exactly similar, but how that performance is put down on the road, now that differs slightly. The 350cc engine was first seen on the Meteor and then it was borrowed by the Classic. Compared to the Meteor, the Classic feels a little laid back in its overall character. It begs you to take it slow while coasting on the highways. And as far as throttle response is considered, the Meteor is a bit sharper and livelier as compared to the Classic. This sharp throttle response of the Meteor makes it a better tourer as compared to the Classic, because out on the highways the Meteor feels a bit more enjoyable. but it is the Hunter which takes a leap ahead as far as acceleration and the overall character of the engine is considered. The combination of less weight to carry around and sharp throttle response means that the Hunter 350 plunges ahead with eagerness that sets it apart from the other two motorcycles. Thankfully, the overall character of the engine remains the same though. And that is a good thing because this engine is a big step up from the previous generation of Royal Enfields. The vibrations are negligible and there's strong torque available at low and mid RPMs. It is when you try to ring it to bring it, the engine starts losing its breath and it will keep on reminding you that it is not meant to be ridden that way. The low revving and torquey nature of this engine makes the Hunter 350 a boon to ride while negotiating the traffic. And this is yet another department which clearly indicates that which motorcycle should you get if you are looking to make your commutes a bit fun and a bit livelier than before. Although the differences were quite evident from the start, it was very essential to ride these motorcycles back to back to grasp the importance of these changes. And despite sharing almost the same mechanicals as the other two 350s, the Hunter 350 does feel different. And it is a good different, mind you. Moreover, the sweet price tag of the Hunter 350 makes it an even better proposition. If you wish to be a part of the Royal Enfield culture and lifestyle, all the motorcycles based on the J platform would be a good entry point. And simmering it down for you guys, the Hunter 350 would make an ideal choice for someone who doesn't like the heft and bulk of Royal Enfield motorcycles and wants to make their mundane commutes a bit lively. However, if you're fine with the traditional Royal Enfield traits, it doesn't get more authentic and retro than the classic 350. The Meteor 350 on the other hand is developed for the highways and for the tourers out there who love crunching miles nice and slow. We hope that this video was detailed enough with useful insights so you don't have to scratch your head while deciding which Royal Enfield 350cc motorcycle should you go for. This is Anand Pandey from BBC Top Gear Mag India signing off. I'll see you around.